Okay, the next presentation is Vishing, not just for extroverts, presented by James Morris.
Hey everyone. As you said, welcome to Phishing to Vishing, not just for extroverts. So you may be wondering who I am. My name is James Morris. I'm an introvert. I'm also the offensive lead at Rendition InfoSec, where we do a lot of real cool stuff. We do red teaming, pen testing, incident response, digital forensics. We offer training, 24/7 SOC located here in Augusta, Georgia. We do a lot of cool stuff. Swing by the booth. We're hiring if you're looking for a job in the InfoSec community. Prior to Rendition, I was a senior pen tester at a Fortune 100 company. I've discovered a couple of 0 days, written some cool tools, scripts, and created a security meetup in Central Florida. So for this talk, we're going to talk about social engineering and phishing. We're going to walk through how you could create a spear phishing example. Then we're going to introduce Vishing into the equation. We're going to pick up the phone, call someone, discuss how that could increase the success rate. We're also going to discuss how you could get creative with your phishing engagements and Vishing engagements. Then we're going to discuss an advanced method to harvest credentials and provide a demo. Rob Joyce said it best, well-run networks make our job hard. That's where social engineering comes into play. I'm not going to purchase an expensive vulnerability scanner, blast your network, get caught. If I can send one phishing email to your CEO, get his password, log in as him, I'm going to take the path of least resistance. So how do you social engineer? It helps first by understanding the old school attack mentality. We're going to search the internet, get all these email addresses. We're going to clone a login page, make a fake website, blast out emails, hope someone responds, gives us their password, social security number, whatever we're asking for. Or we hope that they log into our fake login page, give us their credentials. The old school defense mentality. This is, are you expecting the email? Are you hovering over the link? Is there a red X? And attackers know all this and use it against you. And we'll go through a few examples. This is the typical email that you expect to see for phishing. Hey, I've got $5 million. Please give me your bank account to prove you are who you are, and I'll transfer it all to you. It was your great-great-grandfather, and we need to verify your social and all this information. You're not expecting that. It's too good to be true. Don't click it. Don't fall for it. And keep this in mind later as we build a phishing scenario. We're not going to go to the extreme and offer something too good to be true. We're going to kind of ride that border of it could be true. No. Yeah, this email right here, we're not going to do that one. We're going to make it a little more targeted. So, only check stuff, click stuff that you were expecting. But as an attacker, you weren't expecting Joshua to send you a message. But are you expecting, social media emails to your email? If people add you all the time, send you messages, just based off the inbox view, can you tell which of these is fake and which of these is real? You can't just from this slide. And same thing for the email. As an attacker, we're going to clone something, make it look real. Were you expecting this? Maybe not from this person, but maybe you're expecting social media emails. Maybe someone's messaging you, sending you invites. So here it's hard to spot the difference just based off the body of the email. Then we train users, check the header. But do we always tell people what to look for? How many people in here check the header of every email that you open? I see a couple of hands. Pretty good? Yeah. The challenging part there, do you think John in the real estate department, does he know what an email header is? Does he know? I've heard before where someone clicks an email and they say, hey, it was from Gmail. Google's trusted. Why should I not click it? So attackers keep this in mind, and we know, hey, Gmail is accepted by a lot of companies, so we're going to play off of that. We also tell people to hover over the link. The challenging part there is, are we telling them what to look for? Can we throw together some subdomains to make it look like a real domain? What if we throw in a rendition rsec.us? Do people look at the first part, they see, hey, I see .com, that's what I'm expecting, it has the domain in it. They click on it right away if they even hover and take the time to look at it. We also tell people, look for the red X. So this is a real login page. But what if we force HTTP instead? There's no red X. But should you log into it? What could we do here? What would we train people on for this? What could we tell them to look for? Yeah, the lock symbol. How many people in here like free stuff? First hand, the green shirt, come get something free. There's some swag up here if you want it. Yeah. No, it wasn't even a trick. It wasn't a hard question. Grab something for free, yeah. I also love free stuff, right? We can generate a cert for free, add that lock symbol. So now we just bypass, you're telling your people to look for a lock symbol. My page has a lock symbol. Now can they enter their information? So let's build a sample phishing scenario. We're just starting with a first name. What would the first thing be that you would do? What's that? Yeah, or say you were targeting someone specific. You have just their first name and last name. What's the first thing that you would do? Google them. What's one of the first things that you find from people when you Google them? You see an address. So you take this address. You could start Googling that, find out more information, maybe look at a house. How many people in here have car insurance? Okay, about a quarter of us? Okay. That's a little more than I was expecting, Have you ever tried to go to a competing website, plug in first name, last name, and address? What does that tell you? All the vehicles that are registered at that address. Did you know that? It's interesting. So now you know all the vehicles that this person has registered at their address. You may not know which one's registered to them. So what could we do next? Look at social media. Okay, so many people take pictures of their vehicles. I saw some friends joking recently, someone saying, hey, are you a truck? Because all it was a picture of a truck as the profile picture. But so many people have pictures. So you look at this, you see, hey, the profile picture was changed. August 2011, you see the truck, the color, a partial license plate. You pull up Google Maps, look at the shadow. The shadow's 3 times the length of the people. It's probably 7 p.m., 8 p.m. at night. It was purchased from the dealership. You see who purchased it. You see, is that a wife, a daughter? So you pick up a lot of information from this picture. And you can keep digging into it, research the dealership, find out the name, the address, the email, phone number of the person that sold the vehicle. So we're getting a lot of good information here, but is there anything that we could really cause panic, cause the person to click on something? What's that?
You cause panic by saying that, your car is being repossessed for such and such.
You could. There's so many. Yeah. Definitely, and there's so many directions you could go with this. We could say, hey, from this dealership, you won a new car. Would that be believable? Some people might say, oh, that's probably fake. We talked about it's too good to be true. What if we slam them with a recall? How many people in here have replaced their airbags? A lot. I replaced my driver's side. A month later, replaced the passenger side. Had to go back to get the driver's side. There was a malfunctioning with that. Had it 3 times for airbags. So it's realistic. People, you may not be expecting it, but you see it on the news. It's pretty common. It's, safety. So let's take all of this information that we've gathered and researched. Let's cause a little bit of panic, a little bit of fear, play off the human emotions. Say, hey, we know your name. We know the vehicle, make, model, what day you purchased it. We're not saying you can come in. We're saying you must fix this. It's a safety issue. Throw in a quote. People love quotes. You can quote anything in an email, people believe it. They're sharing, social media, Facebook. I see false quotes shared all the time. Also throw in some statistics, throw in some numbers. Hey, this many people have been injured, harmed. Throw in, play off the emotions of, hey, what about kids, children? You definitely want to, cause a little bit of concern there and make sure it's in scope for your phishing engagement. I've seen engagements go bad from other people where they say, hey, the company stock's dropping. You don't want to go to some extremes that could affect the company, make the client mad, make sure stuff's in scope. But, who earlier, you said you love free stuff. Not only do you have a problem, I'm giving you a free appointment Throw some of those keywords in there. But what else do we have to consider? It's not just the email that has this information in it. We want to make sure, if you're cloning a login page to capture credentials, you want to make it look realistic. A few pointers. Instead of using subdomains, you can add dashes, tweak letters, tweak numbers. You want to make it look believable, make it look like something, they're used to logging into this portal. It's not suspicious when they click on it. But what do we do once the user logs in? Are we just taking credentials, capturing, seeing if they click the email? We can then say, hey, thanks for logging in, but verify who you are. What about your credit card number, your social? Maybe we make a post on the real login page, log them into the real site, and they don't even know, they don't know anything happened. There's so many directions you could go with this. You could also clone other parts of the website. Just 5 minutes in Paint, a free tool. We all like free. We've said it a million times now. Tweak a logo. If you're registering a similar domain, adding a letter, dropping a letter, just tweak the logo, tweak the images. That way they see what domain the email's coming from and it matches everything on the website. Now we talked about phishing. Who in here, show of hands, is familiar with Vishing? Okay, so quite a few of us. So phishing, we're sending emails, trying to get information. Vishing, we're going to pick up the phone call. It's hard for those introverts out there. It's easy to sit behind the keyboard, type, send a phishing email. But now we're going to pick up a phone, call, and ask for your password, ask for information. And this can be very awkward the first few times. It was awkward for me, and it still is. We've had engagements where the client wants us to just figure out information about the company. There's no clear direction. So, okay, what am I asking for? You got to make a plan. There's a few pointers here. You could spoof the number to have a similar area code that they're expecting. Play off the human emotions. Say please, thank you. Ask for help. You also want to have a backstory and research. Just as much as that we did for the phishing scenario, you want to research who you're calling, what you're asking. And don't be afraid to hang up and call back later. You might get someone else that gives you a little more information. So let's circle back to that phishing email that we were talking about. How could we add Vishing into this to increase our success rate? Yeah.
You can add it in because then it says, oh, there is a person that I possibly know or could have forgotten
Yep.
or something saying, hey, I know this about you, all the stuff I need to make sure that you know about this recall.
Exactly. And if you're calling, hey, James, this is Mike. How do you like your truck? Oh, I love it. Get that conversation going. I've talked to people on the phone in phishing engagements 15, 20 minutes before I even asked what I needed to get. Hey, how's your truck? Oh, I love it. How do you like that 4-wheel drive? It's awesome. Use it for towing. You have this whole conversation going. He thinks you're the guy that sold it to him. Oh, by the way, I remember you had a wife, daughter, real nice family. There's a serious safety recall. It's the largest one in U.S. history. It's a major concern, but we'll hook you up. We'll give you we'll fix it for free and give you a free oil change. How about that? So you get all this. It's believable, free oil change. Hey, thank you. What do I need to do? Do I need to come in? You're talking to him on the phone. Check your email. I'm sending it over now. He gets the email. Oh yeah, I see it. Clicks the link, logs in. Then what? If we just leave it at that, would he be suspicious? Does he call the real dealership? He starts looking into it. I don't see anywhere to schedule the appointment. Could we call him back and say, hey, thank you. We saw that you logged in. We verified your information. The recall was only on the 2-wheel drive trucks. We didn't see that yours was marked as 4-wheel drive. False alarm. Sorry to disturb your day. He says, oh, thank you so much, and hangs up. There's no suspicion. He doesn't think twice, doesn't call back, doesn't try to go to the dealership to ask questions. So keep this in mind when you're phishing, vishing. If you send it to thousands of people and they're going to a login page looking for something, looking for an appointment and don't see it, they're going to start contacting the security team or calling the client saying, hey, this is weird. I got this information, I got this email. So keep all of that in mind. So a few things. Think outside the box. Build your statement of work. Include things like third parties. Do they receive the same phishing training? Oftentimes you see contractors, third parties don't receive the same phishing training that all the other employees have. They're good people to target. Target interns, new hires. See what all you can add into your statements of work and scoping. We once had a client. They wanted us to target their third-party MSP. Hey, see what information you can find out about us. Okay, who's the third-party MSP? Well, we want to see if you can figure that out. So imagine all the paperwork and stuff that, okay, we'll do this engagement. We'll try to figure out all this information about you through a third-party MSP, and you won't tell us who the third-party MSP is. It was like, what are we going to do here? This is crazy. We start doing our research, checking social media. We generate email addresses, send email addresses to people. We send one to the director of security. Guess what his out-of-office reply is? Hey, I'm out of office. It was supposed to be for internal people only. If there's a problem, please contact our MSP at this phone number and this email. Can you believe that, right? And the director of security out of all the directors there. So we get that information. We take that. We call them up. We do a little research. At this point, we still don't know what we're trying to get from them, what information. We couldn't find a login portal. So we call it up. We create a whole scenario. I'm working from home. I have a sick child. I have YouTube playing a baby crying on repeat. There's wah, wah. Great scenario. You got to have that backstory. You got to have stuff that makes sense. So we call them up. I pretend to be the director of security. They talk a little bit, pass me to someone else, ask me what I'm asking for. I'm kind of like, I don't know what I'm asking for. I'm trying to play off, hey, I'm trying to get logged in. I'm working from home. Okay, what are you trying to get logged into? Hold on, you're increasing the volume of the baby crying. Hey, I just said I'm working from home. Hold on one second. Let me take care of this. And you're trying to think on your feet. I'm just trying to get logged in. I've got my laptop here. Oh, you mean the hidden login portal that we don't tell everyone that just you have? And like, yeah, that's the login. So if you kind of wait and hold back, kind of play into it, sometimes they'll try to help you. They're trying to be helpful. And in this case, that was it. We're like, yeah. He says, okay, well, here's the URL. You can log in. Oh, but I don't have my work laptop. I wasn't expecting a sick child. My password manager is on my work laptop. Can you reset my password for me? Sure. I'll reset it. I'm going to send it to your email. Oh, but I'm working from home. I can't access my email. Can you just tell it to me over the phone? Sure. I just reset it. It's password 1 with a capital P. Like, okay, thank you. So you're asking for all this information. You're playing off that human emotion. The best part of it, the final person they transferred me to, it was a lady. And she's like, okay, tell me what's going on. Hey, I'm working from home, sick child, have the baby crying in the background. She goes, oh, I feel so bad for you. My child was sick a few weeks ago. I had to miss work. I didn't get paid. Now I've got doctor bills. We talked for 10 minutes about our kids that I don't have before I even told her what I was trying to do. Okay? And they're believing you. You're talking. They see you as a human on the other end of the phone. And then, oh, by the way, can you please help me out? My boss wants this report. I need it by 3 o'clock. It's like 2:30. If I don't do this, I'm probably going to get fired or something. You're throwing all that out there. Oh, sure, I'll help you, no problem. And then she helped get me the URL, the login, reset the password, all of that. So play off the human emotion. And I say all this, but companies are getting better. They're introducing multi-factor authentication. They're minimizing their attack surface, or their surface area for us to attack. But we're still getting in. Can anyone guess why? Yeah. Yes, similar stuff. You want to come up and grab some free swag? Yeah. Oh, yeah. What's that? So I'll show a tool here shortly. We actually wrote keyloggers, and we throw it on our login pages. So everything that you're seeing, we see live. We see the two-factor code, password. We're entering it on the other website. And all we need, if you want to come up and grab something too. Yeah, we were interacting earlier, talking. If you want something too, come up and grab something. It's a good answer. So all we need is that one successful phish or vish. I don't need to send it to 1,000 people if the first person I send it to gives us their password. And here's a screenshot of a tool we'll demo here in a second. we throw this JavaScript keylogger onto the page, onto the login page. And as you type your username, password, two-factor token, we see that. We enter it on the real login page. Sometimes if there's an additional push notification, you're expecting it. So let's run through this demo. On the left-hand side, you see the login page. Okay, it doesn't seem to be playing. But so with this, as someone logs in on the left-hand side, they enter their username, password, and on the right-hand side, we see the video live. We see the keystrokes live, the timestamp, IP address, as you enter the information. Here's a few resources. There's plenty of great resources out there. Here's a few that I use personally. So there's tools that can scrape social media. It'll generate email addresses based off of first name, last name. The fish log, it'll capture keystrokes as the user types it. There's also tools to send phishing emails, to track who clicks it, track who enters passwords, how many passwords. We've seen a user once entered 5 different usernames and passwords for different domains in the different environments. Every one he was entering, I guess he was expecting something different when he logged in. He just kept going back, trying different ones throughout the day. Are there any questions? Yeah.
How would a keylogger help you if it's an MFA that's got like a constantly changing thing? Are you just like watching and you write behind that? Or the token changes?
Yeah, so on the other monitor, and that has sound built in that you can customize the sound. So if you send phishing emails out at 9 o'clock in the morning, you have that up on your other monitor or minimized. So you're working on something else. You start hearing beeping noises. You open it up and you see keystrokes going across the screen. So you can pull up the real login page and enter the two-factor code before it changes. We've also seen cases where you enter the username and password and it sends a push notification. A client that I last did that on, the first 12 people that we tried, guess how many accepted on their phone? Said, yep, this is me, out of 12. 7 out of the 12. So yeah, there's other ways around it, but yeah. Yeah.
Are you able to do anything about if they have like a UDP or hardware?
So even the hardware, so sometimes if they're used to entering the username, password, and token on the same screen or even the next screen, sometimes putting all of those on the same screen, and as long as they're entering the code on the page, we have the real page up, we can enter the username, password, and even if the next page is the token, we can enter it there.
Like a UDP, like the hardware, like WebAuthn.
So this specific one is more just for the web portals that ask for username, password, and two-factor code. Yeah.
How often do you see companies that don't have a hard requirement for multi-factor authentication where there's some link of like, oh, you forgot your token, and then it's just one factor?
Haven't seen that too much. Usually, yeah, what's that? Oh, the guy back there. Oh, yeah, can you repeat that?
Yeah, I was just asking, how often do you see companies that don't have a hard multi-factor?
Okay, yeah, so the question is, how often do we see companies that have a hard multi-factor? I've seen cases where if you say you forget it, lost the token, you call the help desk, and the help desk says, okay, what's the last 4 of your social? So I've seen companies that start to ask for more information. Sometimes you can find that information online if you did enough research, so it always helps, as we were talking about earlier, research beforehand. But yeah, that's a good point. I have seen a lot of clients don't use two-factor and allow 6, 8-character passwords. The complexities could be all lowercase or lowercase and uppercase. So I see that quite a bit. Yeah. Yes?
I've seen a secure ID where a malicious party would ask for numbers or identification
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, another thing that we've seen a lot of times too, not just the actual login page, but you go to the forgot password page, and you can use that for username harvesting. A lot of times, if it enumerates, company letter and then numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 for the company IDs, a lot of times you can go to the forgot password page, throw that into burp, spray it with different numbers, letters. You can get valid usernames before you even password spray. That way, you're not setting off any of those alerts that say, hey, we're getting failed logins for usernames that don't exist. At least if there's anything that you're at least hitting valid usernames. Any other questions? Oh, yes.
Do you struggle with the idea that the friendly conversations you're having with someone with phishing leads to them getting fired?
Yeah, definitely concerns. And the biggest thing that we tell the clients, whether it's phishing, vishing, physical pen testing, we've got Bryce Self giving a talk on that later today. It's not the person. Where their company policies in place. If we walk to the front desk and say, hey, we're contractors, here's our badge, it's after hours, no need to call the VP and wake them up, let us in, they let us in. Is there a policy for after hours or visitors after hours? No. Did the person receive training for phishing, vishing, social engineering? No. Okay, is there what's supposed to happen? The client's like, well, they're not supposed to let people in. It's like, okay, were they trained on that? Were they told that? Is it documented? So a lot of times it's the processes, procedures that need to be addressed, not necessarily that one person. And a lot of times, year to year, as we hit clients over and over, that would be the wrong solution to me. Is fire the person, get someone new. If you don't train the new person, we go back and do the same thing or try different methods, and it still works. So it'd be better to address the problem than just throw a new body at it. Yes.
Question, I know some of that there's a lot of gray areas that company doesn't hit their policy, but is there a point where those gray areas become too much? Because it's you can't, because the company tries to account for every single possibility
Yeah.
that oh, this card can have this type of phishing, this type of phishing. If they try and account for every single type, is there a way that phishing can get past that?
Yeah, it's always a challenge that, as the policies get more detailed, the attacks need to be more sophisticated. Kind of to the beginning questions that we talked about, the employee training. A lot of times we see it says, don't click on stuff that has a red X, or look for a lock symbol. That's pretty generic and easy to get around their training. So if they provide examples, what I've seen work a lot is they provide multiple examples. Hey, look for the red X. So that if the lock symbol's there, it could still be bad. Look at the domain. Are we expecting it? There's a lot more that goes into it. But yeah, it's definitely a challenge because you don't want a 1,000-page procedure on phishing. Yeah.
But you also don't want it to be that it's 2 weeks, so kind of would be hard to find that idea. But then at the same time, it would be hard to hold, would there be ways to learn, phishing people on open that make everything?
Can you say that again?
So, basically, alright, I'm better. Basically, company breaks down the top types of phishing that they work with.
Yeah.
Is there ways that when we're doing phishing, is there ways that we can come up with more unique ways? That's I've never heard about that.
Yeah, there's always new techniques and new things that we're trying. I've seen so many clients that we take we say, hey, we're going to send this from Joshua@gmail.com. Client, no, you told me you're this advanced red team. We need something more advanced than that. We throw up a login page that just says login, password, submit. Oh, no, you need to do something harder than this. And then 50-60% of the people fall for it. So it's like, hey, maybe we don't need to spend all this time training training our people on these very advanced attacks if they're clicking something that's from a Gmail account and It's a login page they've never seen before, and they're entering their company credentials. Any other questions? All right, thank you.